Do you struggle to find the motivation to get out of bed and do simple everyday tasks? Do you lack the self-discipline to make consistent changes and build a habit of these tasks? Am I describing 99% of the general population? Yes, I am. Hi there, welcome to my channel. This is actually my very first video, and I created this channel because I wish I had this information even 5 months ago. I love to learn, and I love learning about the human mind. I have a degree in psychology, and I have read so many self-help books. I have been able to really apply to my life and have seen a really big difference. And that's why I created this channel, is just because I would like to condense all the knowledge that I've gained so far that has really helped me and be able to present it in an easily digestible way. Anyways, at the time of upload, we are still in the midst of coronavirus, so I think you can assume how the general population is doing mentally. I was there too. At the beginning of quarantine, I fell into a really big rut. I had no motivation to do anything. I felt like I had no purpose in life, but I got out of it. And that's the really exciting part, is I did it all by myself. And although I'm really proud of it, I feel like it was way easier than I was expecting. And that's gonna be the big thing to take away from here. It's easier than you think. You just have to be able to push past that resistance that you're feeling. I feel like I found a hack, and I wanna be able to share with you guys the tools that I used to get myself out of that dark place. I'm not saying it's gonna be easy for everyone, but I do feel like the hardest part is simply the beginning, which is pushing past the resistance that you feel. I also think that we tend to overestimate how much energy is required to go out and make that change. We get overwhelmed with how much energy we think it is, and then we avoid doing it altogether in the first place. We'd rather believe that we had the control and choice of choosing not to do something versus accepting the fact that we're really just lazy creatures. Or even worse, we go out and do that, but we fail, and then the fear of failure prevents us from doing anything else in the future. And I have been in the exact same place. The prime example is this video. I felt really afraid to go out and make it simply because I had never done this before, but I'm here, which means I pushed past that resistance. Keep in mind the word resistance because it's kind of a key concept if you can't tell yet. Another main takeaway that I think should be the thesis of this video. There is no finding motivation. It's not something to find. It's not something you lost. It is a fleeting, rare emotion that comes and goes at the most random times. You should not be chasing it and expecting the only time that you're going to do something is when you find motivation. So don't expect that you're only going to go out and do something when you're feeling motivated to do it. It's never going to happen. Please trust me on that if you haven't learned it yourself. I think a lot of us look at people who are very successful and we think that, wow, they are just infinitely motivated. How do I get to that place? The truth of the matter is, motivation, there is no such thing as being infinitely motivated. Motivation is a very finite feeling. So don't bank all of your ambitions on this finite emotion. What these successful people did is they learned to push past that resistance to get to where they want to be. They still go out and do that thing even when they really don't feel like doing it. So the answer here is not really finding motivation, but learning to push past the resistance. I will say, once you push past the resistance, you might find some motivation along the way through momentum, but the important thing to keep in mind is that momentum and that motivation is not going to last forever. Eventually it's going to fade, and then you're going to have the resistance again. So you have to learn to push past the resistance. So how do you do it? The first idea to keep in mind when learning to push past resistance is to understand what drives you in the first place. Is it out of fear, like being afraid to miss a deadline because you'll get in trouble? Or are you more driven by something more on the incentive reward side? Like you do something because you're looking forward to getting praise, or you want a marker like a good grade. Even though motivation is a fleeting emotion, there's still something that drives you intrinsically. Figure out what that is. For me, fear can be a really big factor because I am terrified of getting in trouble with authority. But what if the change you want to make is something more personal, like changing your eating habits or working out more? How do you push yourself when there is no external reward or punishment? For this, you might have to dig a little bit deeper. Find out what makes you really excited. If you're in such a bad rut right now that nothing really seems like it's exciting, think back to a time where you were happy, or think back to when you were a child and what made you really excited then. That's a really great place to start. For me, I love to learn. I will eat up any amount of self-help books or podcasts just to gain knowledge. So if I were in high school or college and I had a really big report to write, I could flip my mindset from thinking, ugh, work, to this is really exciting because now I get to learn something new and I can carry that with me the rest of my life. If I can flip my mindset in that way, I would start that project so much sooner and I'd be able to finish it a lot faster, simply because the change of mindset. It's amazing what a change of mindset can do when you figure out what makes you tick and you can learn to apply it to that thing. Another thing that worked for me, I love to work on myself. As I said before, I will eat up any amount of self-help books like they're candy. When I was feeling in this place of no motivation, no purpose in life, I imagined myself where I was, and then I pictured myself where I could be if I applied a lot of the tools that I had learned about, and that got me really excited. My intrinsic motivation was the feeling of pride in myself once I achieved that glow up, and the feeling of pride I got by doing that. And guess what? It worked. So whether it's the love of learning or the feeling of pride in oneself, learn what really drives you and try to apply that to whatever you're trying to accomplish, even if it doesn't really seem like they fit together. For example, with the eating healthier and then love of learning, you don't really think that they match, but if you can learn to research more on why eating healthier is better for you, it might motivate you a little bit more to actually do that. Okay, let's say you've figured it out. You know what really drives you. But what if you still don't have the motivation to go out and do that thing? Then what? This is where self-discipline comes in handy for those incredible superhuman people that have it. But for the rest of us undisciplined folks, it's not going to be that easy. How do you go about doing something when you really don't feel like it, and when there really isn't a consequence if you don't? The answer here is almost too easy. But for that, we will talk about in the next video, so stay tuned. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this was really informational for you, and I hope that you stay tuned for more of my videos. I hope to provide a lot of really awesome content on self-help and improving one's life. So see you next time. Bye.